Welcome to another No BS review, where there will be no filler or BS of any kind, only the information you want to know about this vehicle. On today's installment, we'll be looking at the beautiful monstrosity that is the M6A2E1, a rank 4 battle rating 6.7 heavy tank in the American tech tree, originating from Season 3 of the Battle Pass. If you're interested in buying this vehicle, it can be found on the marketplace for a price slightly greater than that of the annual GDP of some small African countries. You might also notice that I'm driving this thing a little funny, and hopefully that will make sense when you take a look at the armor. To give you a bit of background, this vehicle is the result of efforts to improve the M6 series of heavy tank and make it more viable on the battlefield. This includes a new, very heavily armored turret and two 50mm RHA plates welded over the existing cast hull armor. Unfortunately, they seem to have forgotten to add anything to the front hull sides, leaving you with only about 85mm of protection there, which is not exactly optimal. However, like the T1 tanks in the tech tree, this vehicle features a reversible gearbox, meaning it can go just as fast in reverse as it can forward. For that reason, I find it's genuinely more practical to drive it backwards and hide your crew behind its massive engine and fuel tanks. Do also note though that the side armor is very weak, with some areas being protected by as little as 40mm of armor, and also due to the way overpressure works, some large rounds with a lot of HE filler may overpressure your crew if they pen part of the way through the gun mantlet, even if they don't actually fully penetrate the armor. The real strength of this vehicle lies in its firepower, with its main gun being the massive T5 105mm cannon, also found on the T29 and the Doom Turtle, but this vehicle gets it at 6.7. Your main shell is going to be the T13 APC-BC shell with a maximum flat pen of 253mm and an absolutely enormous 177 gram bursting charge, enough to overpressure the crew of most vehicles with any penetrating hit. Though its reload speed is a bit on the sluggish side, it does get 10 degrees of gun depression, which makes it quite viable as a hull-down sniper. With a maximum speed of only 17.9 miles per hour, the A2E1 is not the speediest of vehicles, even in terms of heavy tanks, but it's at least not quite at Mouse or Black Prince levels of underpowered. However, the reversible gearbox does lend it a good degree of versatility, being able to reverse into cover relatively quickly. The American 6.7 lineup is pretty stacked, with 3 other heavy tanks in the tech tree, the Pershing medium tank, and 2 light tank destroyers. You are notably missing any good SPAA though, with the Skink being extremely lackluster if dragged up to this BR. Looking at CAS, you have more options than I could possibly mention in any reasonable amount of time. However, the A1H is going to be by far your best pick if you have it, since with its loadout of 40 Zuni rockets, it packs enough firepower to quite feasibly wipe out the entire enemy team by itself if left unchecked. To be honest, the M6A2E1 is not very effective in its intended role as a heavy tank. It just doesn't have the protection necessary to really function as a breakthrough or brawling vehicle, especially with it being vulnerable to some 20mm cannons from the side. Its high profile also makes it extremely easy to hit. However, what this vehicle does bring to the table is that absolutely massive main gun. The T-34 in the tech tree may have more raw penetration, but the massive amount of HE filler on the T-13 shell on this vehicle gives it a far greater degree of reliability, allowing it to fill the role of heavy tank destroyer that's really badly missing from the American 6.7 lineup. And while you may question why you wouldn't just buy the T-29 at that rate, which is admittedly a much better vehicle at only 0.3 BR higher, do keep in mind that this thing gets down tier to 5.7 a lot. I find that the best way to play this vehicle is to either hang back and fire at enemies from a distance, or to advance slowly and carefully, whittling down the enemy team bit by bit and trying to avoid, if possible, getting sucked into any brawls at very close range. While admittedly not the best at its intended role as a heavy tank, the M6A2E1 really doesn't need to be. This vehicle fills a critical niche in the American 6.7 lineup, providing heavy and long-range fire support to other vehicles, and ultimately, even if I don't always do super well while playing it, this is just one of those vehicles that I find very fun to play. Overall rating, 8 out of 10. While average to good in most areas, the real standout feature of this vehicle is the firepower. Bringing that 105mm nuke launcher down to 5.7 is just one of those guilty pleasures in this game that feels like it should be illegal. That's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the playlist in the description for more vehicle reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one.